Hello, everybody. This is Downer, and I'm about to show off my new wheat farm. I've gone ahead and planted my wheat and run a trigger wire for that bud switch because, well, I made an attempt at doing a time lapse video of the wheat growing so we can watch this work. However, that didn't turn out too well. It started to record up to an hour's worth of audio of recording, and it just got a little bit too cumbersome, and I didn't want to do that. So running this trigger wire just seems to be the best bet. However, if you remember with my old wheat wheat farm that automatically harvested, it would um, cobblestone generate a block until it reached 8 stages of wheat growth to trigger a floodgate and open it. However, I've made some changes with this one because although that was a great idea and it worked out well, it did utilize a glitch, and um, I think we were missing some important factors that needs to be addressed with wheat growth. So I'm going to go ahead and right here I'm going to demonstrate how this works. That's why I'm doing this at night, because I think this just looks absolutely amazing at night, although it is still just as visible during the daytime. And then afterwards I will take a tour of this machine, and then we'll move on and I'm going to show how each component works. So first off, this lever is going to send a signal up there changing the redstone, or causing the redstone to block update, and we'll show how this works. So I'm going to plant my wheat and it drops a block. The point of this is now it's going to fill up a loading bar so that when it reaches our second stage of growth, it will drop another block. So I'm going to hurry up and go through this, all 8 stages of wheat growth. And, wow, it didn't register that time. When it goes through all 8 stages of wheat growth, it then triggers an alarm. I meant for it to have a flashing light, but it seems like the flashing light is not very visible from far away. However, this is the last block and it's going to trigger the alarm. I think that's just beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go right now, take a nap, come back in daytime, and then I'm going to explain how exactly it works. Okay, and wake up, and we'll go and see how this works. Now, originally this would have triggered a floodgate. However, I think the alarm is more important because, although I did go through here and use bone meal and seed so that this could just be more pleasing. Wow, update errors. Well, I wanted to give it the chance to finish growing, as wheat definitely has its own nature. It decides to, sort of grow at its own pace. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the control wheat is ahead of all of this, and sometimes the control wheat is way far behind. Although it is a good indicator, I don't think it's the best to have it automatically harvest. But if you wanted to, you could add a kill switch to the alarm. Come back here, check on it when the status bar is loaded. You see, 2 or 3 blocks of wheat that aren't fully matured yet. Give it a few more minutes. It's just as easy as that. And as far as this goes, when all the wheat is ready to be harvested, you come over here, look at the status bar, flip your switch, it opens the floodgate and clears the status bar. In which point it will drop your sand blocks right back into your stream so that you can pick them right back up. That's not completely efficient. There's got to be a better way to do it, but I just haven't explored that yet. Which, on a side note, I'm sorry I haven't had this up earlier. This was done a lot earlier, but I haven't had too much time to deal with it. What with the hurricane, and I've actually been sick a little, so I'm just trying to go ahead and get along with all of that. So I'll close this, go down there and collect. And we got everything back. This is a very interesting setup. Here is my alarm, which I used a 4-piston clock with the thing set up like that. inverted it down here so that I can shut it off. And the glowstone I was hoping would make a flashing light, which it does, but the light just isn't very visible from far away, and it also plays the alarm. I will go into this a little bit later. I'm going to take a break real fast. Okay, I wanted to add this in here and let you know that every time the block is updated through the status bar of the wheat, basically you're going to add the wheat right in here. And that's actually Fall of War's bud switch, I believe. I used his bud switch in this because it is faster and it seemed a little bit more compact for my application. I'm sure there's other ways you could do that. I went for a little bit of aesthetics here. So this, you would plant your control wheat in this place, and that's when you would see this update once, and each time it updates it will continue and it drops the block. So alright, and now I'm gonna end it here and continue on in the next segment. Okay, now this switch is actually just hooked up to a piston in there, which stays extended, and this one stays extended to prevent the water from flowing. So we'll flip that. You can see that piston right in there is moving in and out, and that is to prevent the sand blocks from falling. So when the sand blocks do fall, they will land on top of that and prevent them from breaking. And inside there is a half block, because when the block falls, as a falling entity hits it's the half block, and a falling entity will break into a collectible entity at that point. I've already discussed this with a few other Minecrafters in the IRC channel, and everybody's pretty much dead set on the fact that this is not a bug. Similar to TNT working and blowing up blocks and things like that. It is not a bug, so it should be with us for quite some time. Another kind of feature that kind of isn't so great about this is you do have to fill it with sand. I do wish it was more automated. However, I think it's one fair setback in the fact of being able to see that timer visibly from far away. I would love to find out a way, if any of you watching have any way of making that work and getting the sand back up. Oh, no way. Getting the sand back up there to fill it, that would be great. I would rather not break the blocks, and if they did continue further down and then cycle them back up, that would be awesome, except that it's just not very possible. I haven't figured out a way I can get sand back up on top of there. Now, once you're up on top of this, the timer, we'll go up there and check this out. I have basically redstone running up and down here, and when I get up here, basically the sand will fill up here, and when it reaches the top, once it reaches the top, it'll continue this signal, allowing the alarm to run. And that's how it works. So I'm going to clear this loading bar, and then we will resume this with a little bit of a mini tutorial. Okay, and we're back with a quick demonstration of how the status indicator will work. You'll basically set it up in a triangle sort of fashion with the 3 blocks. You can run this anywhere else you want. As a matter of fact, I have this coming out forward here because the vertical redstone wiring I did here does interfere with this block here. So, or the block next to it rather, because the sand will be in the center. Now all you'd have to do here is we're going to need to load our indicator, And that will be by loading up sand here. Wow, I didn't think this one through. But, alright. We'll get a couple pieces of sand up there. I'm not sure how far I went with this. Oh, shit. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm not even counting this, but it's alright. It'll work out. Now, this pile of sand is going to be pushed by this piston after hitting that vertical redstone, which in the case of a finished product would be activated by a bud switch, detecting each stage of growth by the wheat. Or anything else you can think of putting a status indicator with. I'm hoping to use this as well with melons and pumpkins further down the line. So, in order for this to work, you would then detect a stage of growth by the wheat, and oops, got to have that piston now extended. That piston's got to be extended to protect the sand from landing on that half block. So, it would detect a stage of growth from the wheat, and it would land, indicating one status bar. Then 2, 3, 4, and I assume 5 is going to extend that piston. There, now we have a clock. We have the, sorry about that, you get to activate your alarm. And when your alarm is done, and you're here to harvest it, you flip the switch and clear it all again. That's about it. I'm going to go more in depth into this, but I'll get to that at the end of the video. I'm going to take a break right now, and we're going to move on to the next component I use that is not necessarily a part of it. You can skip through it, but I will be right back. Alright, and we're back with, this is how I made my alarm, if anyone is interested. I don't think it's really that important. You could do it any way you really want. However, I thought it looked really neat at night. Basically, what I did here is I have all these torches set up, inverted from the bottom, so that I could shut this 4-piston clock off. And then, after that, I ran wires out the back for these note blocks, and I'm just going to flip it on so you can take a look at it. And these pistons are really loud. However, at nighttime, it looks, I think this thing looks awesome at nighttime. It would make a really good, I think it would be really cool for like a musical lighthouse or something like that. Especially the shape of it just reminds me of a lighthouse lens. And it looks pretty cool. But all I do here is, this is just a 4-piston clock, which you can look up almost anywhere. Except instead of this hole here, I build 2 blocks up, and I would build 2 blocks up and add this together. So I would, very simple. I'm not going to build that right now, actually. I want to keep this video small. I am probably going to end this right here. I didn't want to get too in depth with tutorials right now because I think I'm going to continue a series of Let's Build in Minecraft. I'm going to try and build all of my contraptions into a usable base, and I think that would be I think it would be an awesome series. I will be using too many items. However, that is just to skip the more boring parts of having to mine for items. For the most part, it'll become a good. You'll be able to watch me build a base using all of my my redstone contraptions and other people's redstone contraptions just to build a fully functioning, cool base. And I think that'll be a pretty decent series. So please subscribe, or you can even look out for. I will post updates on the Minecraft forums. I love those guys. I wanted to give a shout out to the Minecraft forums for putting my previous wheat farm up on the Minecraft forums video spotlight. Um, and yeah, this is about it. So if you stay tuned, also I'm going to do another video. I'm going to walk around here and just give a quick. These are a few of my contraptions I've built through 1.73, and I'm going to give a download to this world so you can get a better look at these. So stay tuned for another video, and thanks for watching. Okay, I'm back real fast for a minute. I wanted to show how this worked at night. It looks real nice at night, and when you flip the switch and you have the alarm going, I did make a mistake earlier. I said you can hear the note blocks for 16 blocks, while you can really actually hear them for 48. And this, I wanted to show how it flickers. It looks really cool when it flickers. It just seems that Fraps is taking up so much of my RAM right now. It's not flickering as nice as it does when I'm playing single player by myself. The flickering is really cool though, and the sound is neat. Yeah, that makes a really cool thing. But yes, thanks for watching. I'm gonna end it here for good this time, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Should be up either today or tomorrow. I'm gonna take a tour real quick of the whole world, and you can get a better look at these because I didn't do a very great tutorial, and I do plan on doing the series of better tutorials. So yeah, stay tuned for both of those, and thanks for watching.